So welcome back to part two of the All Things Must Pass 50th anniversary in-depth review. I hope you enjoyed the first one. We're going to look at the second LP now, sides 3 and 4. Side 3 kicks off with Beware of Darkness, and again that also has this bass and drum intro which just sounds so much more dramatic on this version. Really quite powerful. Again, the vocals without the echo just sounds so much better. The whininess is he's lost the whininess, and it just sounds better. And the strings on it are much more vibrant on this version. And for the first time, I realised that there's a xylophone on this song being played. I'm not sure by who, but I've never heard that before. Apple Scruffs. Not too much to say about that because I don't think there's any Spectre on this. It sounds a little bit clearer. There's not really any echo on the original. I don't think. It's just George and Mal Evans, and depending what book you read, he's either hitting a wooden block with a drumstick, or it's footsteps. Tapping his foot. But everything else played by George: the acoustic guitar, the harmonica, the slide guitar, and all the backing vocals done by George. Even though they sound like female vocals, they're not. They're George. That's one thing that Phil Spector said, that George, very capable of creating his own harmonies and and performing them. Something that he was obviously used to doing, behind, John or Paul in the Beatles, obviously more in the early stuff. Ballad of Frankie Crisp, another fantastic song, which I love. You can really hear the different parts played by the piano, which really drives it, and the organ. Again, the vocals are echo free, and you can hear you can even hear the picking of the pedal steel on this. And one sort of curio from this one, the "Oh Sir Frankie Crisp" bit, which is much higher in the mix here than it is on. It's kind of buried on the 1970 version, but it's much higher in the mix here. But on the demo for this, you can quite clearly hear that part is sung by Ringo. I don't know whether he sings it on the final recorded version. Would be quite unusual because I don't think he plays drums on it. Yeah, I don't know whether that's Ringo or George or someone else doing that on the record, but on the demo, it's definitely Ringo. So maybe it's Ringo on the recorded version. Now, "Waiting on You All," fantastic song. Another one that we hear on, the concert for Bangladesh, but on here, it's very messy. There is just so much going on. But they've done a really good job with this. Sometimes, it's not possible to improve everything, but I think they've done a good job with this. The drums are almost inaudible on the original version. You can hear maracas and you can hear tambourine carrying the rhythm during the first two verses and the first two choruses on the original version, but here you can hear the drums there as well. It's a massive improvement. The kick drum is in there as well, driving the backbeat, and the bass is adding more weight to the sort of the toppy sort of muffled original. And in the "You Don't Need No Church House, You Don't Need No Temple" verse, there is some lead guitar underpinning each line, which you can't really hear on the original version, but you can hear them loud and clear on this. I didn't even realise that they were there until I heard this mix. And I just wanted to show something on this while we're talking about this song, because I don't know if you've seen in the book, for A Waiting on You All, he's got the try and work it out in the mirror. He's got all the. I know you can't read this, but he's got all the tracks and what instruments are on each track, and on track 20, 21 and 22, it says plate. Now, what a plate is like a reverb box, like an amp that you play reverb through, and that takes up 3 tracks on this album, on this track, and the last 2 tracks, rather comically, are written echo, co. So 2 tracks of echo, 3 tracks of reverb, plate reverb. So that's 5 tracks of echo and reverb effects on this, which, because they're on separate tracks, you can take them off completely or par them down a little bit, which I think is what's been done, and that's where the improvement comes. Right, so on to All Things Must Pass, last track, side 3. So this was a track that they released early. We all heard it and it all sounded gorgeous and we loved it. It does really sound incredible, hearing it now on a hi-fi rather than just on Facebook or whatever it was that they put it out on. The drums and the bass, the drums, the bass drum from Ringo is very unusual on this, because he normally plays, his backbeat pattern is normally, it's either not, boom, 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 or, fall to the floor, boom, 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 or a mix of those, or rather just a double on beats 2 and 4, boom, 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 boom. But on this, he plays something really unusual for him, where on every beat he does a double kick drum, so boom, ba boom, ba boom, and then on the last beat of each bar, it's boom boom, which is what he usually plays on the last beat of a bar. So very unusual kick drum from Ringo, but I'd never really heard that before. So very nice to hear that. The harmonies on this song are just gorgeous. I think it's George and Eric, and I think and Bobby Whitlock doing the backing vocals on this, and they are beautiful. Just generally, just great instrument separation. Everything, the piano, the organ, the horns, the pedal steel, just everything is just spot on. Fantastic song. I Dig Love, start of side 4. Now, a lot of people don't like this song. Don't really know why. I'm not one of them. I love it. I think it's, they probably don't like it because of the very simplistic lyrics. But, it's a simple song. It's simple musically as well. So they kind of go together. But it's very catchy. And I don't really know why people don't like it. Because I think this version on this new remix absolutely kills the first version. It is superb. It's just so much better. The piano intro, it just sounds bigger, and the bass underneath that beefs that riff up. The drums, they just sound much bigger as well, and you can clearly hear in the chorus on this where there are 2 drummers playing different drum parts, which is not that obvious on the original. You can hear that on the chorus, and then there's some backing vocals around 2:40 in the song, just before the solo, where George does a do 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 little refrain, a little bit backing vocals, and they're much higher in the mix on the new version than they are. And because they're higher in the mix, you can hear that underneath him doing that, there's a little lead guitar just sort of underpinning it. I don't think you hear that on the 1970 version. Next on Art of Dying, which is one of my favourite songs on the album. And I think the 30th anniversary version of this is really good. It's really good. It's a big improvement. It's a bit of a mess on the original. Lots going on. But you hear on this new version, you hear where there's that wah wah at the beginning, which I think is played by Eric Clapton. There's a kick drum going with it, and the echo's been taken off, so you can really hear it's really very prominent and very, hits you in the chest again. Boom, 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 boom. It's great, really great. Just overall, the sound is much cleaner. So that's, that helps. And Billy Preston's organ is there. It's loud and it's proud and it's great. Great song. So it's one of my favourites. I find it really hard to pick a favourite song on this album, because there are a couple of weaker tracks, but there are so many great songs on it. My original favourite track when I first heard the album was "Hear Me Lord," but I think it's moved on a bit since then. Maybe it's "Beware of Darkness," maybe it's "Run of the Mill," maybe it's "All Things Must Pass," maybe it's "Isn't It a Pity?" I don't know. But it's such a strong album. So penultimate track, "Isn't It a Pity" version 2. Now, there's a lot of people saying, why is this on the album? Why is there another version of the same song? Well, I don't really understand the thinking behind that. I mean, this version is very different to the first version. The reason it's there is because George didn't like the first version once they'd finished it, so he wanted to do a stripped down version of it, and that's what we get here. A much more stripped version. So obviously it's much shorter. There's not as much going on in it. It's really stripped down, and it's. I think it's got a legitimate place on the album. I mean, I don't know why people don't think it's okay. You think it's not okay to have two versions of the same song, yet they want to hear outtakes, or they want to reprises are okay. This is kind of what this is. It's just not called reprise. So I don't have a problem with this being on the album twice. Two different versions, both very different. Why not? There's one thing I just wanted to talk about on this is another YouTuber, Andrew Dixon. He said in his video of All Things Must Pass that he thought there was an error with the timing of the piano part in the middle. Where it cuts it cuts off, and then the drums come back in, and then there's a keyboard solo. He said the timing was all off, and he said it jarred a bit. So I I took a listen to it, and I listened very carefully, and I compared it with the 1970 version, and it's you can listen to it there's three parts to it really. So where the music cuts off just before it, there are eight beats before the drums are start the coming in, and they do that for 5 beats, and then after 5 beats the keyboard solo comes in full, and it does that on the original version. It does it on this version, so it's no different on this version. The timing isn't off at all. It's exactly the same as it was. But I think what Andrew might be hearing is that during the silent part, when it stops, there's a couple of rogue bass notes which I can't hear on the original version. I've turned it right up loud and got my ear to the speaker, and I can't hear them. I don't think they're there, so I think that they may have been. I think it may be a mistake, and it got edited out of the original version, and it didn't get edited out of this. I don't think it's a mistiming thing, because the two notes are played on the last beat of the of the bar before the stop, so they're not missing from that, and then they're stuck right in the middle of nowhere in the silence. That hasn't happened. You can hear those two notes, you know, in the verse before the stop. So I'm not sure how that's happened, because when they were mastering this and they had all the WAV, you know, the WAV files up on the screen of all the tracks of the song, they would have seen on the bass guitar, they would have seen two notes where there's nothing else on any of the other tracks. So it would have been hard to miss. So, you know, it's possible that they just heard that, you know, because obviously, you know, Paul Hicks and Danny Harrison weren't there, so they didn't know about the cutting out. Maybe they heard it and they, you know, they liked it. They liked those little notes, those couple of rogue notes. So I don't know what was going on there, but maybe it's a mistake. Maybe it's a mistake but they liked it, so they kept it in. I don't know, but there's nothing wrong with the timing of that break and the keyboard solo coming in. It's exactly the same on this version as it is on the 1970 version. So finally, Hear Me Lord. I really like the Spectre version of this, because the echo lends itself well to the sort of the hymn vibe of this song, but I still think this new version is better. The drum build up right in the intro, the beginning, it sounds so powerful and so natural without any effects on it. There's better instrumentation, separation. The above and below us, that bit just sounds more natural and bigger. Sounds bigger. Sounds like a chant, where it sounds a little bit weedy on the original. There's fantastic guitar and piano interludes and melodic bass going on in there. Some staccato piano notes and guitar licks that are kind of buried in the original, which you hear on this version. I just like it better. But not to say I do like the Spectre version. I'm just going to have a drink of tea, because that is a lot of talking. That was Beatley Tone's Beatley Mug, by the way. Right, so that's basically it. So I think the thing to take away from it is this album hasn't gone away. It's still there. You've still got those songs. There's no need to, you know, get all uppity about the new mixes because they're different, because that's what we want, isn't it? We want something that's different. We don't want the same thing again, just because it's an anniversary. We want something different. So that's what we've got, and it's great. And for me, and it, you know, again, it's subjective. For me, the 50th anniversary is now the sort of the go-to version for me. So, as some bloke called Sir Frankie Crisp once said, ring out the old, bring in the new. So there we have it, the new. So that is going to be my go-to version now, the 50th anniversary. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thought it was interesting. I know it's gone on a bit too long, and we'll do the Apple Jams and the outtakes and demos and other jams in the next video. So please give us a like, give us a subscribe. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.